All right. All right. Hi, everybody. Good morning. Sorry, for some reason, every time I log in at school, the video isn't there and I have to re-add it. So, good morning. Sorry to be a minute late in starting here, but welcome. We're here for my research methods class, right, to try and talk a little bit about week number 15. Hard to believe that we are in week 15 and very, very close to the end of our class. It's wild. It feels like a very long time ago that we began, and yet at the same time, it's gone quickly. A little bit of a contradiction there, but I don't know if any of you would agree. But yeah, it is May next week. Really wild to think we're in the last weeks of our class. But can everyone hear me and see me okay? I see a lot of you getting logged in, putting your names in the chat and so on. Someone let me know if everything's coming through just fine on your end, and then we'll get started. Wait just a minute just to make sure. Can you all hear and see me all right? If someone could give me a yes or a thumbs up, that'd be amazing. Thank you. If not, I'll just assume everything's fine. I'll always have that fear that I'll be talking and talking and talking, and someone will be like, oh, I heard nothing the whole time. But I'm going to assume everything is good to go, and all of you can hear me just fine. My plan for today, we'll talk a little bit about last week. I want to talk about the discussion and then homework assignment number 4 that you had. Okay, good. Thank you, Jenny. Thank you for letting me know. And then we'll talk a little bit about the things we have going on this week and kind of closing stuff as we get toward the rest of the class and kind of being done with that. So that is our plan. And of course, if you have questions at any point, feel free to ask. So let's go ahead and head over to Canvas together. And if we scroll all the way down, again, we are here. We're in week number 15 of 17. So not a whole lot of the semester left. We have this week, next week, and then week number 17. And I'm going to put this in the chat just as a reminder, but our class officially ends on Sunday, May 15th, so Sunday 5:15 at 11:59 p.m. So just something to kind of keep in the back of your mind. Our class officially ends here on the 15th of May, on the end of that week 17. Everything needs to be turned in and completed by that point. Really a good idea at this point in the semester, and I'm going to mention this the rest of the way. It's a good idea to just be checking your grades. Make sure that everything in terms of your grades is correct. If anything looks wrong or it's missing and you feel like it shouldn't be, or you're confused about something, this is a wonderful time to ask me about that, to check in about it. Once the class officially ends and I've submitted final grades, it's very difficult to go back and change something. So if you see something that's wrong or not how it should be, please take a moment and check that and email me so that we can look into it while the class is still going. But I'll remind you of that probably next week and in the last week as well. So for now, let's go back and look at last week really quickly. A few thoughts from week number 14, and then we will talk about what we have going on right now. So last week we were looking at our last time covering APA formatting. So we were looking at APA Part 3, which had to mainly do with citing references and looking at the reference page and so on. For the discussion last week, you were in charge of completing some of those practice exercises on that website, and hopefully you enjoyed doing that. I think that it's kind of fun to do like a practical application in that way. And while that was worth a few points, what was worth the most points by far was to create an APA style references page in the 7th edition style, including these 3 different sources here and putting it all in the right formatting and order and all of those things related to formatting and accuracy. And some of you just absolutely nailed this. And I, again, will let you know that APA formatting is tricky, it's difficult, and just when you think you have it down, they'll change it and update it again. So if you're struggling a little bit with this, you're not alone. The biggest thing with formatting APA style stuff is to just know where to go to get help and for resources. But just a few comments. The biggest things that I saw One of them is the sources should have been in alphabetical order in terms of the authors. And so a few of you didn't do that, kind of not putting things in the correct order. Some of you forgot to put the page number at the top, which is small, but it's still an APA style thing. Some of you didn't title it references page. You saw a few works cited, and then a couple of like bibliography or just no title whatsoever. So make sure that you're always citing things correctly, putting references, putting the page number up at the top. And so those were some of the things that I saw, or the spacing being really off. So remember that I did give you some really helpful resources in the lecture for this week and with the reading that you had. So if you didn't get full points, not a bad idea to go back and review those. I, of course, gave you feedback in your discussion grade. But those were the biggest things that I saw. The spacing being off, missing the page number, and not putting the sources in the alphabetical order. Or, as I said, not titling it references page. Don't forget to always continue replying to a classmate to get those 2 points. But most of you are doing a beautiful job with this. A lot of full credit or very, very close to. And again, APA style and formatting is tough. So don't beat yourself up if you're struggling with it just a little bit. A lot of you did a beautiful job. If there are any comments or questions about the discussion, of course, feel free to put them in the chat. I do want to talk a little bit about the homework assignment as well. So with the homework assignment, I gave you an unformatted paper. Sorry, for whatever reason, Canvas has been a little on the slow side today. So let's just see if we can open this another way. The internet on campus is always just a little bit on the slow side. So here we go. So here is the document that I gave you, and your job was to format this correctly. And some of you, again, nailed it. 25 out of 25, beautifully done. But I saw a lot of kind of common errors. And so I just want to go over that really quickly. Some of you right off the bat emailed me, and you're like, how am I possibly supposed to give you a 10-page paper when what you gave me is only 5? Some of you forgot to do double spacing, right? One of the very simple like rules of APA style is that the document should be double spaced and in a standard font. I purposefully put this in like a random font. It should have been in like Times New Roman font and size 12 font, and then all of that kind of stuff that's very standard. There should have been a title page with a page number and everything formatted correctly. Some of you forgot to do the title page. As much as it seems like a waste, the abstract should be on its own page. That was another thing that I saw some of you struggle with. So there should be a separate title page, a separate abstract page, and then the paper starts with the introduction. There was also a little bit, some of you struggled with the headings, right, with like method and participants, materials, procedure, right? So a lot of you did a beautiful job with the citations. That was really nicely done. But it was some of the kind of more basic APA style formatting stuff that we went over in part 1 and 2 that a lot of you seem to struggle with. So just remember to review those things. You are writing a very APA style paper for me in that last week of our class. So you want to make sure that you've reviewed this. I gave you all detailed feedback. So if you have any additional questions about your grade or the points that you missed, of course, feel free to email me. But again, a lot of you did a great job, and those were some of the common mistakes that I saw in this homework assignment. So that was our last homework assignment that we had for the class. So there are no more of those 25-point assignments for you. All that we have left is this week, next week, and then week number 17. So for this week, we're looking at chapter 14. We have a discussion and the optional extra credit. We also have a very like normal week next week. And then week number 17, we move into the final exam, an experiment proposal project that is due, the closing survey, and a couple of other things. And I will start talking about those next week for those of you who wanted to work ahead. Remember that as of this Monday, all of the remaining weeks of the semester are open. And I wanted to make sure that you had that flexibility for those of you who might have a really overwhelming finals week, or maybe you're going to travel, or you have other stuff going on. I wanted to make sure that if you wanted to work ahead, that was something that was an option for you. So remember to keep on top of weekly deadlines. Everything for this week is still due by Sunday night. and then next week is due by that Sunday night, and so on. But if you wanted to work ahead, that is definitely something that you can do at this point. But for this week, we're looking at chapter 14. So make sure that you read chapter 14 in the textbook, as usual, and then go through my lecture and the lecture video. So if we open up my lecture here, chapter 14, we're looking at replication, generalization, and the real world. So we have a couple of learning objectives, and here's our summary, as usual, looking at some things related to replicating studies, meta-analyses, and so on. So those are things that you're going to want to obviously focus on and read. Drives me nuts when pictures don't show up. I'm not sure why that didn't show up. I will have to look into that. The second page is beyond the book, a little bit more about the replication crisis and the replication debate that we have in psychology. Make sure that you explore the little link that I have here for you related to that. And then on the last page, you have all of the key terms that you need to know related to this chapter. These are all the things that will show up on the next exam. So make sure that you are familiar with all of them. If you're studying as you go along, these would be the terms to study for this week. So make sure you read through that, click on any links, watch any videos, anything that I have included. All of that is going to help you with understanding the materials. You'll also want to complete the lecture video, right? So make sure that you are watching this. It's posted on YouTube because there were no outside video clips. And it's not too long, but make sure you watch this, take notes, pay attention. The materials here will definitely appear on the exam. So that's going to be really helpful for you in understanding chapter 14 and getting a little bit more information from me related to it. So those are kind of business as usual things. Read the chapter, read the lecture, watch the lecture video, and take notes. The discussion for this week, discussion number 15, let's take a look at that. As always, we're 15 points, 13 for your responses to my questions, and 2 for your responses to a classmate. Make sure you watch my little video. I hope you're watching these. I took the time to make them. I think they're helpful, but I hope you're watching them and find them to be helpful for the discussion prompts. But for this one, what you're doing, you're going to be applying the knowledge you gained this week related to chapter 14 on replication, generalization, and the real world. So read the short scenario below and then answer the questions related to chapter 14. So a study with a sample of 28 participants per condition showed that people reported being less satisfied with their lives when asked on a rainy day compared to a sunny day. Later, a replication study using polling data from 1 million people found almost no effect of weather on mood. So for your post, I want you to answer the 2 following questions. 1, discuss in detail. So give me lots of detail, be specific, link it to the materials in the chapter. What are 3 different reasons why the study might have failed to be successfully replicated? And note, I gave you a little hint here. Table 14.1 on page 431 of the book might be especially helpful for you in answering this question. So make sure that you're referencing and kind of looking at that table or just the chapter in general. And then number 2, discuss 2 potential improvements to scientific research or practice that might help with the replication issues, both in this example and in psychological research in general. And discuss how these improvements would potentially relate to the example scenario that we're talking about right here. So all of this is going to be showing off your knowledge and comprehension and ability to apply the information you're learning this week on replication and generalization and the real world. So make sure, again, that you are showing off that you understand, really link it to the things in the book and the lecture, answering these 2 questions. And you'll hit reply to answer my questions, and then don't forget to also reply to a classmate. I'm just looking at these right here, the people who have posted so far. Again, make sure that you're really getting some detail in your responses. These should be a little bit lengthier as you're highlighting 3 different reasons why it might fail and then explaining them, and 2 potential improvements and explaining those and linking them to the materials. So that's your big thing to focus on this week, other than the reading, getting that discussion response posted along with your response to a classmate. I do also have the extra credit question for you, but I have some reminders. Are there any questions? Let me put that here in the chat. Any questions, comments, thoughts, anything about the discussion this week, about the materials from last week? anything that I can answer, kind of general related to the class. While I'm waiting for you, I have a couple of reminders. Uh, First one, as usual, if you could just take a moment to, again, double check your subscription status. I have 200 and something students and only 16 are subscribed. So if you have a moment to double check that, it really saves me so much time, and I really appreciate you doing that. So just double check that really quickly. We only have about 2-3 weeks left, so it'd be nice if you could do it one more time so that I can track your attendance. Especially if you're watching this later, it will still show up for me when I download that you watched it in kind of a live format, even though you're not watching it live. Yes, you can still turn in the homework assignment, but it will be at this point it was due a few days back, so you will lose some points, but it's definitely better than no points. So yes, you can feel free to email that to me, and it would be better than not turning in it at all. Can you email me to follow up about the specifics of what we messed up on? Yep. Yeah, if you would like to email me, make sure you look at the feedback that I gave you. So for every single one of you that missed points, I did give you feedback in your grade. So make sure that you take a look at that, Cora, and see what you lost points on. But if you want to follow up and get more information, I'm here and I would be happy to elaborate and talk more about that with you. So that's totally fine. Yes, for both of you. You may email me and you can still turn it in, and it'll be worth partial points. Okay. Yeah. If you want to email me, that's totally fine. What you could also look at too, a couple of you messed up with the headings. And so if you go back and look at the video that we had for APA Part 3, it does include some of the information about the headings and what those look like. So you can take a look at that, or you can email me and I'd be happy to give you more feedback as well. So double check your subscription status. That was reminder number 1. Reminder number 2, our next, let me put this in the chat here, our next Twitch live stream, which will be week number 16. Gosh, I can't even believe it. Week number 16, and we'll be in May. We'll be on Thursday next week. So Thursday, I'm typing this in the chat here, Thursday next week, which is May 5th. Cinco de Mayo. I'll see you on Cinco de Mayo. So Thursday, 5/5 at 10 o'clock a.m. Okay, and we only have a couple live streams left. So next week we will have week 16, and then we'll have one more after that. So just a couple more opportunities to earn those bonus points. So I will hope you join me next week at 10 o'clock in the morning for that next live stream. The other thing, let me give you the extra credit here. I put it here so I can just copy and paste it, but I'll put it in the chat. So your extra credit for this week, if you want to earn those 2 points for joining me here live or watching it later, if you are subscribed, you can still get that credit. What is the replication crisis? And describe. So what is it? Define it, describe it. When you're ready to answer that, you can go back to Canvas. And since we are in week 15, you'll click on optional Twitch extra credit number 15 right here. And then up at the top, you can click start assignment. And then below you can type your response here in the box and hit submit. Confetti burst. Anything else in the confetti? Nope, just confetti today. But that's due by this Sunday night at 11:59 p.m. You can get those 2 points for joining me on here. Get going on the materials for this week. If you wanted to, again, the remaining weeks are open and you're welcome to go ahead and get started on those, or you can just take them as they come. Next week, we'll talk about the materials for week 16. And then the following week, we'll talk about the final week materials as well. So I think that's everything. I'm trying to be mindful of your time. I know everyone is feeling stressed, and as we get toward the end of the semester, time gets a little tight and everything's overwhelming. But make sure you get everything in before this Sunday night. This Sunday night is my twins' birthday. My little twins, they turn 8 this Sunday. I can hardly even believe it. It doesn't feel that long ago that I was running out of my class because my partner was in labor. But yeah, they'll turn 8 this Sunday. I've got multiple cakes headed my way, which is a fantastic thing to look forward to. I mean, I wanted to be a good parent, all of you. I think it's important to be a really thoughtful, mindful parent. And so I bought each one of them a cake so that they would feel they were represented. it's very thoughtful of me, I think. One chocolate cake and one vanilla cake, in order to make sure that they both have their own cake. It's all about them, of course. Super thoughtful. I thought so as well. But yeah, they we're having a Harry Potter themed birthday party because they are obsessed with Harry Potter. So looking forward to that and eating multiple cakes and maybe even some cupcakes too, right? I have grand plans of eating this weekend. So anyway, I hope you're all doing well, taking care of yourselves, hanging in there, and I will hope to see you all next week for our last or second to last live stream. Yes, an impact, something small like that on their psychological development. I love that. That is all I'm thinking of here, all of you. Just I'm trying to be mindful of their growth and development as they get older. I don't want them to not feel like they have their own unique representation in life. Nothing to do with me loving cake and wanting two of them. Not at all. Not in the slightest. I love it. Thank you. Thank you for playing along. I'll take it any day. So I will hang out for a little while. If any of you have any questions for me, I will be here. Yes, much needed in the world. And I'm going to minimize my video, but I will hang out for a little while. And of course, when this is done today, I will post a recording of it in case you are watching this later, then you obviously found it. Or if you weren't able to watch the whole thing, you can go back and do it that way. But hang in there. We're almost to the end of the semester. Summer is coming. Not winter, but summer. Summer is coming, and we're almost there. So hang in there, and I will hope to see you all next Thursday. I'm going to minimize this here, but have a wonderful rest of your day and a wonderful week, and I will see you all next Thursday. In the spirit of thoughtfulness, I will eat at least one bite of cake for each of you, just so that you know that you're important to me as well. With my thoughtfulness, there's no end to my thoughtfulness. Oh, right. All right. Have a wonderful week, everyone. No, so you don't need to have a research for that research project. You don't need to have a references page. So all of the information that you're having for that paper is going to be coming from you, right? So the stuff that you're referencing and thinking about, it's your chance to highlight that you understand everything we've covered, but you aren't writing a literature review or any of that stuff. So you won't need to have any sources and you won't need a references page. And again, I will be going over the instructions for that either next week or the final week, and we'll talk more about it. But if you look at the instructions, there is no references page required for the experiment proposal project. I hope that helps. Of course, no problem.